Hey yo, what's good? What's going on, everyone, everywhere? Look, before we get into this video, man, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff the other YouTubers say. Go ahead and do it now for me, your homeboy. All right, on the road to 1,000 subscribers, when we hit 1,000 subs, we will be doing a giveaway of 10 DCUO memberships. So make sure you subscribe so you can be part of the giveaway. Okay, it's only for subscribers only. So we're gonna go ahead and jump to this video, man. Please bear with me because I literally just recorded this whole thing and I found out my mic was on mute. So bear with me. In this video, I'm gonna go over just pure healing, EOG spam healing, a hybrid build in between, and even a battle heal as well. Okay, I'm gonna give a few variants of different loadouts and whatnot so you can take advantage and see what it best suits you and the type of situation that you are dealing with for the content. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into this bad boy. Now, in terms of my mods and all that, type A and B I generally use for damage. Type C and D I like to use the healing conservation and the field medic. For type A and B, you can just put in more power or just do more resto or do a combination of either one. I like to generally go with more power just so I have more to pull from, and my power generation will go up based on the overall amount of power pool that I have. So I like to generally go a little more power when it comes to these mods, so it's on you though. Weapons, like I have blast after in for other builds, but for this build in particular, when it comes to the EOG spamming, you could just use replenishing adapter. It gives you a little bit more power, but it's just gonna be better as opposed to doing like replenishing. Replenishing is okay, but it does not scale to what you need it to for this kind of content nowadays. It scales to way older content, so keep that in mind, as well as it tries to heal for you and not necessarily based on your own stats. It tries to do its own little thing, similar to like a lot of the devices and stuff that we have. I feel like the little personal damage field does its own thing, not really based on your stuff. So with that being said, a lot of times it's going to be a lot lower based on, you know, the scaling, and it doesn't take your stuff into consideration, as opposed to you just getting replenishing adapter, which just gives you more power back, which you can then use in turn for your own heals. Okay, so keep that in mind. Head socket, pheromone bloom, EOG spam, pretty self-explanatory. Pheromone bloom, I use that because, you know, it's universal no matter what movement mode you are, power, etc. If you are super speed, I like metabolic boost or speed drain. So those are two options. You can definitely use your movement mode supercharges if they fit the criteria of being like a 25% supercharge, so keep that in mind. When it comes to the next socket, we use focus restoration, and other builds I'll show you that you can use the precision one or the might one, so keep that in mind. When it comes to back socket, I generally implore everyone to use accelerated flux or whatever your shield is for pretty much all healers. The back socket is pretty much gonna get your shield a little bit quicker. I have Berserker in here because once again I was doing my damage videos here earlier. Now when it comes to that chest piece, we will go ahead and put in the power efficiency chest mod for the chest socket. Okay, utilizing 5% less power for all your superpowers is definitely beneficial and adds up over the long term. Okay, allow you to use a lot more abilities and helps you with your overall power regeneration and power pool. It just helps the group in general, especially in the moments where you do have to spam, similar like Ultimate Soldier Raid, when you're trying to do everybody together and spam it out for the source marks. A lot of times people stand in the fire. You being able to spam some more heals out with the power efficiency right here is where this is going to come into play majorly. All right, leg socket, it pretty much doesn't matter. I picked Spark Barrage in terms of DPS. In terms of healing, you can use Attract if you're trying to do some all-in-one build where you're trying to be a tank as well. Or if you want to use Overcharge, it's probably the only one that you may use as a healer just because it does heal Once you hit overcharge, then build it up, it will explode and do healing and damage. So there's that. Overcharge does similar damage to Tesla Blast, but Tesla Blast is stronger. So feet socket, we're using Tumbling Mastery. Hand socket, max damage. You can use, if you're doing more pure healer and you're using a lot in your shield, you can use regenerative shielding. Yes, it does not scale, but you know, a little bit of heals does help. So in terms of our trinkets, I pretty much never use a buff trinket when I'm healing because I don't see the point in it. The rest of those are already good enough. Even before I had full elite gear, I was rocking the 323 and the 322 gear, even stuff like time capsule, so it's fine. You have enough resto to do anything in the game. So I generally like to run a tier 3 pet, your orbital, your supply drop, and some backup. Now you can replace the backup out for anything else that you want. For a chance, say if you want the buff trinket, by all means go after it. I don't see a point in using it, but hey, maybe you do. My stats are as follows. I got about 246,875 health, 222,059 power. Defense, I have 102,356 defense. Restoration, I have 103,027 restoration. Dominance, since it does matter in terms of our shield, I have 6,807, and my CR is 378, as you see. Now when it comes to artifacts for EOG spam, supercharge spam, green ring spam, whatever you want to call it, honestly, does not matter. Purple Healing Ray is going to be the way to go. A lot of people try to use Page of Destiny, but Purple Healing Ray is just overall going to be a better artifact for this particular situation when you are EOG spamming, because you'll see that we only have, let's say, 3 to 4 abilities on our loadout out of the 6. So definitely being able to not only get your cooldowns a bit quicker, heal more and have more benefit of healing, and empowering just 2 of your very limited abilities that you're actually using to heal definitely helps you a lot. Page of Destiny is a nice safety net. It pretty much used the electric biocap and made it as an artifact and just made your group heal more people. That's pretty much all it does. But since we are electric, we've been able not to use biocap for a while, so we're going to continue not using it for at least time being until we go to pure healing at least. EOG spam, Gemini, Scrap Soul Cloak, pretty self-explanatory there. A lot of people know Scrap Soul Cloak gives you more supercharge regeneration, as well as gives you the most supercharge back from using a supercharge. EOG or Gemini right here is what gives you the green rings. I recommend that, especially if you're using as a healer, you level all the way to 200. 160 should be fine, but 200 is definitely where you get the 5% dominance, health, and restoration, which is going to help you heal a lot better, and it is definitely noticeable in clutch situations. Okay, so keep that in consideration. Now, when it comes to artifacts for generally all my healer builds, I like to run as follow. Crypto, just for the best boss damage, single target. You can use like Luthor if you're trying to do best boss damage AoE. Batman Who Laughs, just all around one of the best allies in the game. The luck of the draw, supportability is fantastic. Type of benefits it gives you about the 5% stats to everything, or 2.5 I believe is for precision. The 7% critical chance that applies for your healing as well, and I believe it's like 10% max health. All those are definitely beneficial in various situations, so it definitely helps you out there. There's even power regeneration one that it gives you as well, so it helps you with power regeneration, what allows us, especially as electric healers, to heal more. That's also why we use Cyborg here as the all year base supportability, just to get our power regeneration that much better. Now you can definitely change out Batman Who Laughs or Cyborg. It's really on you. I generally want to run an Elite Countdown, replace Batman Who Laughs. I know that's a little bit of a controversial pick, but me, I definitely need to make sure my power is to the max. Batman Who Laughs only occasionally gives me a power regeneration boost, as opposed to Cyborg, who always gives me power regeneration boost. So that's my logic behind it. But sometimes I use it for Emperor Aquaman here. So when I use the Seaside restart, I can get my allies a little bit quicker. So that is what we have for allies. They will change depending on what kind of build. If you're going for battle healer, EOG spam, pure healing, etc. But in terms of pure healing and EOG spam healing, those who are allies and artifacts should be about the same. No, the allies will be the same. The artifacts will change. So keep that in mind. Now, in terms of our spec, I generally like to use Brawling as one of the quickest ones, and it just allows you to get in a nice amount of damage, one of the best AoE damage for precision that has, and it's very quick. So you're able to do it, you know, basically pretty much spam your abilities in between each one. So it's just nice all around. To do it, you just spec all the way down. As you see all the skill points here, get to Brawling Mastery. Then you come over to our Martial Arts, do the same good thing to Martial Arts Mastery, go back to Brawling, and just put one right there in Circuit Storm. I generally recommend that you don't use Enhanced Shuriken, just because sometimes you will mess up the Shuriken Storm for whatever reason, and you don't want to be hitting this one too many times because it's a little bit longer and it makes the animation act finicky, and it helps. It's not good when it comes to you having to roll and stuff like that and get out of it. So definitely keep that in mind. For super speed, I generally like to just get the main one here, and then I like to get all the breakouts. Especially as a healer, you need to be out of control effects to do a majority of your healing, so I try to utilize that best as possible. Now I only have Trainer Pool for doing, like, you know, crazy all-in-one builds where I'm like a tank as well, because I can tank even as electric healer. So it's something that is possible. I do not recommend it though. Dash attack if you want a different EOG spam supercharge to put in there. I like metabolic boost though, and speed drain. Metabolic boost especially more for elite content, since it does heal you over time and break you out of control effects. When it comes to iconic power, you can use Amazon deflection. There's very rare instances where this will actually be helpful for you in certain elite content, but generally speaking, you don't really need it. Same goes for the Hardlight Shield. You don't really need it. All I recommend is that you get Pheromone Bloom if you're doing EOG spam. Other than that, you don't need any of these. Super Strength can help you do a little bit more weapon damage. It is minute. It is barely noticeable, but it does help nonetheless. In terms of stat points, I know a lot of people like to use Hybrid, but just in case for whatever reason you're not able to hit the enemies to build back a lot of your power, like I said before, the power regeneration is massive and the power pool is massive, and definitely helps you overall when it comes to healing. So for those reasons there, I like to go ahead and go super powered just for the power generation, power pool. I am losing out a little bit dominance and restoration, but honestly I do not care, because the amount of benefit that super power gives me is way worth than what hybrid would give me. Now, if you are healing for anything, pretty much you're always going to get your critical healing chance and critical healing magnitude. If you're pure healing or even EOG spam healing, definitely get your restoration. Throw everything into the restoration. Once you have extra skill points, and pretty much dump everything in mind power. I like to generally get at least one into precision, health, dominance, and vitalization, just to get the little bit of base stats that they do give. Vitalization, you know, helps me build a little bit more power back. Dominance helps me in my shield. Health, overall survivability, and it's 400 health for one skill point. That's a steal. And precision, just to do a little more weapon damage. All right. Might and power is more for the power aspect of it, not really the might aspect. And then when it comes to our loadout, you kind of already saw it. This is going to be the general loadout that I would recommend if you are trying to solo heal. Okay, when you're EOG spamming, solo heal, EOG spamming, I recommend Galvanize, Bioelectric Surge, Recover, Flux, Speed Drain, and Pheromone Bloom. Now, as you see, we have both our priority heal and our group heal that's going to interact very well with our purple healing right here. All right. Galvanize, we're just using it as a little bit of a burst heal over time. It's pretty decent now, for the amount of healing that it does. It's a few thousand every second, but the range could be better, and the quickness of the heal over time could be a little bit better too. But it is what it is. I definitely say Electrogenesis could be a lot better. It would be a mandatory power if DC, please just change it just slightly. Allow Electrogenesis to not only just go on you and one other person, but go on you and 3 group members. Please. 3 group members will be fantastic. Make this like a group heal kind of power, and it will be golden. It will be so incredible. It changed the whole state of the game, make electricity be phenomenal. Allow its one weakness to finally shine, pretty much. Because Electrogenesis is good and it's okay if and only if y'all are on top of one another. If it's not that, then no, don't use it. Use Galvanize instead. Now, if you are looking for a purely EOG spamming, I mean, you're EOG spam out the wazoo, there's green circles up every last second, then you're going to go ahead and take out Flux. Okay, so you're sacrificing your shield, some of your survivability, and your pickup ability for the EOG spam. So I only recommend when you use this loadout here, Galvanize, Bioelectric Surge, Recover, Metabolic Boost, Speed Drain, and Pheromone Bloom, if and only if you have a second healer with you. Now I say that because sometimes you having 3 supercharges here and only 3 healing abilities. Now granted, the supercharge with the Eye of Gemini, it does give back everyone that's in it some health and boost up your restoration and dominance, which will help you here. But I would still say that shield is critical, and it's definitely something I will only use this loadout for when I have another healer in the group, just to be on the safe side of things. If you want to push it and use this loadout when you're only the solo heal, by all means do you, but I'm giving you my recommendations here, okay? So those are the EOG spam loadouts and the variant of them. Now when it comes to doing a more battle heal, you can go over 2 different ways. If your DPS gear is high enough, pretty much current to 323, 322 and above, then you could go ahead and try to go a straight precision, especially because healing is pretty easy. I'm not gonna, at least it is for me. So I would say that pretty much all this mods that you saw before are gonna apply now. I would, instead of having might here, I would use precision, just get a little more extra damage. Use the blast adapter, circuit breaker for the head socket, because we are going to be using our DPS gear instead, so keep that in mind. And that socket, you could, if you need a little bit more help healing, use Focus Restoration. If you just want more damage, use precision. Okay, Berserker can be in the back socket or Accelerate Flux. It just depends on what kind of what are you looking for, more survivability or more damage. Penetrating strikes in the test and the chest. Oh, excuse me, y'all. Spark Barrage is fine. You're not going to use it. Feet, I use dashing combos in my other DPS builds, so do not mind that. You can definitely use Tumbling Master. It'll be all fine. And max damage in the hands. Now, when it comes to the trinkets, since we are going to be a little bit more precision based, I would definitely recommend tier 3 pet, your DPS buff trinket, the OMAC trinket for the little bit of I think it's like 5% weapon attack critical chance. So, and then I like to have the backup by default and then switch in supply drops and orbitals into the backup, since it is in the 4th slot there. Now, in terms of our artifacts, I like to use Transformation Card because it actually will help you heal a lot better, and the damage is just insane when it comes to Transformation Card. The Clarion is an excellent artifact in terms of doing a little bit of a battle heal kind of build, so definitely keep that in mind. And Demon Fang was pretty much made to do battle heal, precision, and restoration. Okay, you do more damage based on those 2 things. So when it comes, oh, let me show you my stats. Actually, the stats as you see on the screen, only 81,000 restoration, but we have about 78,506 precision. Okay, so you see we are going up right there, and we have about 115,278 might. Our health is still pretty high. Our power isn't as high, but still up there. And our defense is a little bit lower as well. Now, when it comes to allies, this is where it does differ depending on what you are doing. Excuse me, y'all. Crypto, once again, is the best boss. If you don't have crypto for whatever reason, you have to get House of Legends pot. That's the second best for single target boss. You can always use Cyborg if you have more AoE. If you're doing boss with the AoE, so the boss spawn adds, use Lex Luthor. It's the best one for that situation. If you're just trying to get the most damage possible AoE wise, use Superman. But for non-boss related things, because Lex will be the best for boss related AoE. Okay, I know that was a mouthful. You can use Flashpoint Batman for like some good AoE. So keep that in consideration as well. Death Metal Batman is also good for combat if we weren't using his support ability. Now, in terms of our support ability, Luck of the Draw, like I said, just all around just good for any role. And Cloak of Ensnare with Death Metal Batman. Okay, we're going to take the extra might and precision and some damage mitigation so we do stay alive after we roll. So increasing our damage, not our healing, because there's not much doesn't increase our healing. All right, now in terms of weapons, it's pretty much going to be the exact same spec. Do the martial arts and brawling, and just do the brawling to Shuriken. Now you do not need to spec all this out. I more spec it out just because I was testing different things. Once again, Speed Force, get your breakouts and knockouts and stuff, and get the supercharges. All right, that's pretty much all you really need. You don't need the rest. All right, iconics, I recommend Pheromone Bloom. Only get Word of Power if you're trying to do some, like, I'm trying to be a Troll 2 kind of thing, or kind of build. Super Strength, and you could use Neon Venom Boost coupled with Circuit Breaker. I have seen it done before, especially if you want to do a more supercharged build. You can use Quizlet, Scrabble Soul Cloak, and Eye of Gemini, and you'll generate enough supercharge to go back and forth with Neo Venom Boost and Circuit Breaker, 250% supercharges. Okay, so definitely keep that in mind. If you want to try that out, you're more than welcome to. It's pretty insane what you can do with that as well. Now, in terms of this one, I honestly don't know why I went hybrid. It should still be superpowered, so that's a little bit messed up. But yeah, so we got our critical healing chance and magnitude, our attack chance and attack damage as well for our crits. This one is more focused on doing more damage for this like battle heal, so definitely keep that in consideration. So we're going to try to max out our damage while specking into precision. Now, I definitely recommend that if you're low on skill points, you don't have that many, try to do an even split between precision and restoration, and then once you get about 100 restoration, you can pretty much dump the rest into precision. All right, I like to at least get a few, I will say 1 to 5 to 10 in mind power, just so we're not slacking there. And then, you know, like I always do on most of my builds, at least put 1 into health, dominance, and fight. It just helps you out in the long run. Now, in terms of our loadout for this battle here, you can definitely use this in open world content where you're, you know, all fighting the open world bosses and whatnot, or even if you want to bring it in to a raid alert or whatever. I wouldn't recommend that you bring this into Elite, but if you want to do regular content and just have some fun as a battle heal, you can definitely go ahead and give this a try. Galvanize, Electrogenesis, just 2 dots, especially it heals not only your teammates, it heals other surrounding players and NPCs as well. Wired, because it's not only going to give us more weapon damage, but it's going to play on the Clarion. It's going to be able to heal us and our teammates. Arc Lightning is a fantastic ability, does still great damage and great healing. Flux, because let's be honest, we have a nice amount of healing, but just in case to stay on top of everything, we need a good flux. And then Circuit Breaker, because we like to do a little bit of damage, I ain't gonna front. So you're definitely more than welcome to use that. In terms of brawling for the weapon, since it is more of an AoE based weapon, you're more than welcome to switch, just like most precision DPS do, to dual wield. But I generally seem to feel like brawling, just one, I have it as a higher weapon, and two, it's just the way to go, especially if you're actually doing like raids and alerts. Sometimes you just need to have the quickness of brawling to properly heal everyone and do what you need to do. Now that is more of a damage based battle heal. Now if you're trying to get a more even split and more, or even just more healer based battle heal, you kind of see the loadout down below. We're not going to really go for a supercharge to boost that up. Pretty much going to be all the same mods, but instead, all the same mods that we had for our healer, but instead we're actually going to put our healer gear on instead of our DPS gear. The next socket we can actually, since we're using our healer gear, we can afford to put this as precision, so keep that in mind. Our back socket, once again, accelerated flux is what we should use. You can pretty much keep the mods the same. If you want, you can use penetrating strikes here instead of power efficiency, and max damage is good there. Atomic Master is good there. Now this one, we use transformation card, the Clarion, and the strategist card. You're more than welcome to replace the Clarion out with a number of things. All right. Some being the Demon Fang. Demon Fang is pretty good right now. Another could be the Venomous Dispenser, although it does mess up our base power regeneration by 10%. We can make up for it with our massive power pool, being that we have Healer Gear on, and once we're spec into super powered with the additional 25% power regeneration. So we're only really then gaining 15% instead of 25. Okay, it kind of cancels out somewhere. So in terms of our trinkets, some pretty standard tier 3 pet buff trinkets, backup, supply drop. I recommend that you flip the supply drop and the buff trinket here, so you're able to quickly switch in and out your supply drop and your orbital. Allies, pretty much the same. Batman Who Laughs, Luck of the Draw. I apologize, y'all. That should not be that one in particular. It should be the Cloak and Snare for the Death Metal Batman there. I don't know why that's messed up. Ally, Cyborg, Future Lex, Superman. Gonna be the ways to go. Flashpoint Batman if you have them up for whatever reason. So, in terms of our spec, our weapons gonna be the exact same. You know, the brawling, the martial arts, super speed, just get speed force, get your breakouts. Alright. And I would still recommend that you at least get speed drain for different situations, but keep that in mind. Ionic powers, you can, like I said, get the Neo Venom if you want to try the other build, but I really would just go in here and get super strength. You really don't need nothing else. And actually, we're not really supercharged, so you don't necessarily need Pheromone Bloom, but you can adapt this build and change it up and use Pheromone Bloom if you so choose. Stats, as you see, super powered focused, get our critical healing and our critical damage, both of them max them out, do an even split between precision and resto, dump the rest into might and power, make sure you get your 1 in health, 1 in dominance, and 1 in fight. Then for the loadout, galvanized by electric surge, so we are doing a little bit more healing. Electro burst, because it's not only a full raid group heal that is pretty powerful, mind you, but also a very powerful burst damage that is meant for close range, mind you. So where you see the electric hit is where it's going to hit in terms of the enemies. So Arc Lightning, because it's not only a fantastic damage ability but a fantastic healing ability. But Wired, just because we're using the Clarion right now and we're spec a lot of precision. And then Flux, save our behind just in case. So those are 2 battle healing things that you can do. I've actually take them into raids and in alerts, and funny enough, I have done phenomenally well. I've either, one time I came up on top, I don't think they were doing too well in terms of damage, but I was also like swapping out, making sure I had a Dead King Scepter with the orbital and, you know, Philosopher's Stone with the supply drop and all that too. Acting like I was DPS, but I was healing. So I've done stuff like that. Most of the time I come in second or third in terms of the leaderboard, even in doing raids with these battle heals. So they put out a good amount of damage, especially since we are precision based on this. Oh, I definitely want to show my augments as well. Now for our hybrid builds, we're gonna have pretty much an even split of precision and resto ones. You know, in our EOG span, we're gonna have straight resto all over. If we're doing our hybrid ones, I do like to have a might one in here, just because we have both arc lightning and electro burst as 2 might abilities. So having the might head augment does help there. I want to let everyone know about that as well. But look, without further ado, y'all be safe, y'all be easy. This video is already long as it is. Let me know in the comment section down below if these loadouts have helped you or helped you get a better understanding of electric healing as of this year, as of this date, how currently it's being played. Okay. And look, let me know how I'm doing. Like the video if you support this kind of content. Let me know in the comment section down below if you're rocking with this content as well. Make sure you subscribe. We're on the road to 1,000 subs. Stay tuned for the giveaways and anything else by the post notification bell turned to all, not personalized. Keep that in mind. And we will be having a lot of giveaways here shortly, especially for this month. Without further ado, y'all be safe, y'all be easy, y'all take care. Shalom.